I think the trope of Main Street versus Wall Street is a pretty standard one for American elections.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And I mean, there's so much to unpack here. One thing that I think we've spoken about already is Wall Street getting ready to line back up behind Donald Trump because they think it will be better for them because Republicans typically are friendlier to Wall Street than Democrats are. But what's interesting here is that Trump, like, it's hard to see how that's true for Trump, who does things like attack the Federal Reserve, right? Or who just by being who he is shakes confidence in the United States. We're in an interesting position now in that the U.S. economy is quite strong, but whether or not that's felt by your average voter as they go to the polls is a different question. Whether they feel like inflation has been brought down enough is a question. And there's also just like, there was a viral, I always hate talking about anecdata like this, but there was this viral clip from an article that was making the rounds on social media this week, wherein a gentleman in the Midwest was getting a new job because a factory was opening that Trump had promised and Biden's actually having opened. But he will be voting for Trump because when Biden came for the ceremony to open it, it slowed down work. So for that reason, he's annoyed with Biden and feels like Trump is just a guy who gets things done, even though Trump literally did not get the thing done in this. So I guess what I'm saying is, like, I think that we sometimes think that voters are sitting down with like paper and pen and being like, okay, this is what I was making in 2020. This is what I'm making in 2024. Like, here are the different economic, metrics that are being hit. And I think it's more how the economy feels than how the economy is, which, to your point, Tom, is part of the reason. Like, I think that one of the things that's frustrating to the Biden campaign right now is that, one, they can't just talk about how good the economy is because people want to talk about other things. And two, that if you insist, like, actually, we did a really solid job getting this country out of the pandemic. Everybody said it was going to crash and burn. It didn't. People can be like, well, I'm not that personally happy. Like, I'm still spending too much for milk. The other part of this is that in 2020, Congress passed like COVID, basically like subsidized people's lives because we were in a pandemic. Yeah. And there's some speculation that while that was the right thing to do, does it lead people to think like, wow, I had all of this stuff, like I had like childcare credits from the government under Trump, and now under Biden, like what, it all dried up.
This is the vibe session where people have the vibes that they're in a recession, even if the actual right. numbers don't back it up. Yeah.
It's really interesting watching from across the Atlantic, from a country where we feel like our economy is not doing very well. The US economy is objectively doing better than the UK economy, but we have an incumbent president who is being blamed for a bad economy, which from here looks like it doesn't even exist.
Right.
And we've got to be fair, we've got an incumbent government that looks set to lose for amongst other things, economic reasons. But looking at a lot of UK businesses looking with envy at the amount of investment and actually subsidy in investment in green infrastructure, especially in the United States through the Inflation Reduction Act, which is a big deal that we look at as a model, and Labour especially has been looking at as a model for how they might want to behave in government. And it appears to be paying no electoral dividends whatsoever.
Right. I mean, it's if Biden loses this, look, who knows what happens between now and the end of the year. But if the election were held today and Biden were to lose, he would lose with a strong economy, and not just a strong economy, like with having recovered this country from a pandemic, and all of the economic, I don't even know what to call it, trials and tribulations that implied.